Hi friends, I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I just wanted to talk to you about these people right here. I don't know if you've been to a tea party or a protest. You may have come across these people. They call themselves Billionaires for Wealthcare, and they show up at our protests and they pretend to be one of us, and they are against supposedly healthcare reform, and they wear supposedly expensive clothes. Sometimes they show up in a limousine and they're carrying champagne glasses and junk like that, and just saying really stupid things. I'm gonna let you watch a little bit of them. There they are with their signs and their champagne glasses, and they pretend to be one of us, and they try to make us look foolish. And so I just was interested I wondered where these people were getting their funding or their ideas or their whatever, because they're obviously organized. Somebody had to rent that limousine or whatever they show up in this week. So I did a little bit of research. You know, I like to do research, and well, it wasn't really hard to find, actually. Down here on they have their website listed, Billionaires for Wealthcare. So let's go there. Here's Billionaires for Wealthcare, and of course they say that they are made up of CEOs and talk show hosts and HMO lobbyists. that's what they want you to believe. But they carry on their little shtick throughout this web page, pretending to be a group of rich people that really are against healthcare reform. And they've got a place down here where you can order their signs. You can download their signs for free. So I looked over here where it says donate, and I thought I would see what that was, because usually you can get some information. And if you look real close right here, it says, if you do not want to donate online, you may send checks as follows. Write checks to the Institute for Policy Studies. So I said, I wonder who that is. So I looked them up. Here is the Institute for Policy Studies. They started in 1963. They've been very active over the years. They are a liberal progressive group. They've been very active in trying to mostly end wars. They protested the Vietnam War. They didn't say anything about Clinton bombing an aspirin factory in Sudan or bombing Afghanistan, but they did get upset when Bush 1 took a military foray into Iraq. We all know how that turned out. And they also have been working in the Justice Department, where they got a person who had murdered two of their people, got blown up in a car bomb. It was awful. And in 1998 they finally got justice for those two people. They got the guy put in prison that did it. It was Chilean, Pinochet. And so they did that, but then just 3 years later, when the World Trade Centers were hit, they didn't say anything. However, 2 years after that, when we got involved in the Iraq War, they started protesting again. So that is IPS, and that is who's behind the Billionaires for Wealthcare. I wondered if it went any further than that. You know, I thought, sometimes you can find out more if you research further. So I found out that the same person the person who ran and started IPS also started this magazine called The Nation, which that's their paper. It goes with the organization, their paper, The Nation. And one of their writers, Christopher Hayes, wrote this article called Tuesdays with Rom, and it's about the secret Tuesday meetings that Obama's staff has with progressive groups. The article says, from day one, the administration has pursued a strategy of keeping its progressive allies on the White House playbook. In a weekly Tuesday night meeting called Common Purpose, the representatives from dozens of well-established progressive groups, environmental organizations, labor unions, Move On, Planned Parenthood, Human Rights Campaign, and others gather at the Capitol Hilton to meet with the White House representatives. Okay? Yeah, we already knew that. We'd heard words about it. Things had slipped out, you know. In August, several outlets reported that Rahm Emanuel chastised some attendees for targeting Blue Dog Democrats who were wavering on reform. And Rahm said anyone who went after Democrats was effing stupid. That's Deadfish Rahm. He's such a gentleman. Mostly, though, the meetings are a chance for the White House to communicate its message. They're pretty useful, one attendee told me, simply by virtue of the fact that they lay out their schedule and they review the messaging. If that's all it was, it's better than not knowing that shit. But there's also the value of having all these progressive group players at the same time in the same place every week. It means that our networking is better. That's a quote from one of the attendees. When faced with this kind of sustained, ferocious, implacable opposition campaign waged during the August recess, and that's of course referring to our tea parties and our protests and our calling of our congressmen, the meetings provide a useful platform for coordinating response and pushback. Healthcare has been pretty good, the same informant told me. The most obvious example was the town hall pushback. This is a quote. The most obvious example was the town hall pushback. Even though the MSM stopped covering it, from an organizing perspective, we did a fabulous job of turning people out and winning the ground game. It was really 180 degrees from beginning to end, and that had an impact on elected representatives. That's the kind of thing I think wouldn't have happened if we weren't in the habit of meeting every single week. Okay? So this guy has an inside with these people who are invited to this meeting. He gets to talk to them and he knows who they are. I wonder why. Maybe, just maybe, because his wife works in the White House counsel's office. Yeah, imagine that. His wife works in the White House counsel's office. So this guy, who works for The Nation, which is a publication of the Institute for Policy Studies, which is behind Billionaires for Wealthcare. Now, aren't you guys happy? Isn't that cool? Well, now when you see them at a tea party, you'll know who they are, and you'll know what to say to them. We know who you are. We know who funds you. We know who told you to come here, acting like idiots and trying to make us look stupid. Okay, that's the end of that video for the day. Thank you and have a good day.